I'm back again in part 2 of the lye soap. What I've done is I went ahead and I've mixed it up and I'm ready to stick it in the mold. One thing you might be asking is why somebody would use lard instead of vegetable oil. You know, some people say ooh, it's pig fat, but the reality is a pig skin is very similar to human skin. The collagen in your skin is very similar to pig fat, so it's a very good choice, and some of the old people 100 years ago figured that out. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to put it in the mold. Right now it's kind of a antique white color, and we'll get it in the mold here. I've been mixing this for about an hour. I'll mix it a little bit and I'll let it sit a few minutes. Each one of these buckets is about 10 pounds. I try to work the air out of the corners. Kind of reminds me of house paint. Sometimes when you scrape the bucket, it'll leave streaks in your soap, so I try to blend it in really well so I get a uniform color. I'll take these two molds and I'll weigh them to make sure they're the same. That way my bars come out a uniform weight. Just generally they come out a little bit over 4 ounces after they've cured for a while, like I explained in segment 1. Now they both weigh the same. I've got my table set up perfectly level. If I use a carpenter's level, I face it this way, then I'll face it this way. I had to put some cardboard under the feet of the table to get it level. If you watched my other video on bay rum, you would have seen my next time was about 10 minutes, and this took about an hour. Just because it's animal fat. Trying to leave an airspace between these to let some excessive heat escape. In the past, I've noticed that sometimes the center will get really hot, and then the outside you can tell there's a color change. Trying to let some of the heat escape on the center so it doesn't yellow it a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it up now. Both sides weighed 8 pounds, 4.5 ounces, including the mold, which equates to around 5 pounds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it up and I'm going to let it sit 24 hours. And I'll come back and I'll cut it tomorrow. I've got 1 loaf of bay rum to cut tomorrow. I'm going to try to video that as well, so you can see how the swirl turns out. I'm getting a little behind on this unscented soap because I'm trying to catch up all the scented soaps that I've run out of over the summer. I'm going to come back with part 3 and we'll cut these bars and we'll mill them. And you can see just how it is start to finish. I talked to you a little bit in the last segment about why it's so popular. Right now I'm just showing you how to stick it in the mold. You can stir it and mix it a little bit longer until it's a heavier cream, but it doesn't really make any difference. If I don't cover it up and then let it heat up, the quality of the soap's not quite as good. So that's a little tip. You need to insulate it a little bit to let it heat through. Anyway, I'll have that part 3 out soon, and have a good night.